Hey YouTube, it's Patrick. Today we'll be talking about Potcoin. Now, when I originally came up for the idea of this video, of course I was going to include this psychedelic background, maybe wearing a tie-dye t-shirt, bong noises, and a bunch of smoke, because after all, it is Potcoin. However, I read an interview that really changed my mind. And the interview was from the Cointelegraph, and it was with the CIO of Potcoin Systems, Russell Thomas. And in this interview, Russell shares the story of his young son Jack and how he was diagnosed with Fragile X syndrome, which I guess is the leading cause of mental disabilities in children. And of course, like any parent, once he discovered this, he was, frantically looking for some kind of cure. He didn't find too much. However, he did stumble upon medical marijuana being used to treat this. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, how could you give medical marijuana to a child? Apparently you don't know too much about the advances in medical marijuana since it's been legal. They actually have this CBD, cannabidiol, and this is an element found in cannabis that they can actually breed out the psychedelic effect. And so it's literally just medicine. It has none of the high that people, always refer to, with marijuana. So, if you ever watched, I highly suggest, watching the show Weed Wars. There was another young child who had this horrible seizures, and his dad, the medicine that he had to give this child to try to stop these seizures was worse than the seizures. It was really quite horrible. He was also able to treat his child with CBD. Now, back to Russell though. Russell, used this to treat young Jack. And a year later, I guess Jack is showing great signs. He's walking, talking, eating normal. He's looking his father in the eye. And as a parent, myself, my heart really goes out to Jack and Russell and his family. And I wish them all the best, because heaven forbid anything happened to your child. You can really, just, side with that parent and realize, what a hard time this might be. So then Russell, he quit, and once he saw the improvement with Jack, he quit his job of over 25 years to develop Potcoin Systems. And, to give a little history of the cannabis industry and Bitcoin, they do kind of go hand in hand, because when the legal cannabis scene broke on the scene through Denver and Washington, it's a billion-dollar industry, so there's a lot of these dispensaries making a lot of money. But the only problem is banks wouldn't do business with them, because banks follow the federal laws. And because they, supersede the country, they bank from, state to state, so they follow the federal laws. And the federal laws still state that marijuana is illegal for recreation or medicinal use. So they didn't leave these businesses bringing in all this money. They had no really place to put their cash, with credit card machines. I imagine they ran into problems there as well, because those all get run through mostly banks. So, of course, a lot of these dispensaries started using Bitcoin. And then, the story of Russell, and in comes Potcoin. Now, why would someone choose Potcoin over Bitcoin? Well, Russell in the Potcoin Systems are tailor-making this for the cannabis industry. The first thing is that really, as a consumer, why I would buy marijuana with Potcoin is a 10% discount. I don't know if you guys have heard the prices of legal cannabis, but with the taxes and everything, it's getting quite pricey out in Denver or in Colorado and Washington. So any kind of discount would be great. Also, it is accepted in 2 dispensaries, so it's already kind of mainstream. And Russell also talks about the implication of Potcoin ATMs, which I really feel is the future of Potcoin, because if you're in a dispensary and you're about to spend, say $100 on some tinctures or whatever it is that you buy. If you have an ATM there, it says, well, if you just put your cash in there, you get a 10% discount. The volatility from going from an ATM to the counter, you're not going to lose too much. You're going to save more with that 10%. Also, like I said, it's accepted not only in these 2 dispensaries, but it's accepted in a lot of other businesses. From banks online, it's also accepted by paraphernalia companies. And of course, you can also buy games, a pot game with this, which is kind of funny. So here's my little financial warning for you. Of course, buying altcoins is basically like gambling, and don't gamble with money that you can't throw away. Do not take any financial advice from me, for I am not a professional. However, if you do like investing in alt currencies, you should check out Potcoin, because I do think it's here to stay. Russell talks about, how it's not a pump and dump, that they donated already some money to medical cannabis research, and he actually has talked about an implication of the fees. Unfortunately there are fees, but they're small compared to credit card companies. But there are fees. But with these fees, he wanted to take a little bit the percentage of the fee and kick it back to cannabis research, which is really good. So if you're into recreational marijuana, you might want to check out Potcoin. Definitely, if you're into medical marijuana, you should use Potcoin, because you're going to not only support, you're going to get that 10% discount, and you're going to support further cannabis research. But it is also, Potcoin has risen above other cryptocurrencies that are trying to capture some part of the marijuana industry. There is hempcoin, there is cannacoin, there's cannabiscoin, and hempcoin. But Potcoin has the most market capitalization. I think it's 43 on the market capitalization altcoin chart. If you guys follow that at all, if not, I'll put that link below between all the market cap for all the altcoins, and you can check out how Potcoin's doing. It seems pretty stable. It's a new alt currency, but I think it's pretty stable. I think it's going to be here for a while, because he's strictly focusing on the legal side of things, and not trying to make this cryptocurrency where you can buy drugs over the internet. This is just for going into the legal dispensaries in Colorado and Washington. And the good news for Russell and his company is there's going to be a lot more legalization to come. So with that being said, he's got a bigger market, and the banks are still not going to work, even though no matter how big the cannabis industry gets in America, until it's legal 100% across the board in the whole country, banks are going to have nothing to do with these dispensaries and these legal pot businesses. So if you're into legal pot business, I highly suggest maybe accepting Potcoin in your dispensary if you haven't already. And if you're into investing in alt currencies, I highly recommend checking this out, because there is some profit to be found in Potcoin. But that's all I have for you for right now. I hope you found this video informative, and I'll see you on YouTube.